Right, good evening and welcome to this baking hot day and my weekly 10 show. This is episode 28 and tonight I'm going to be talking about our freedoms, and it's just very fitting with everything that's been going on in the news and everything else with COVID stuff that we talk about what freedom really actually means. And before I go into that, and also fitting with what I'm going to be talking about tonight, two developments that have happened to me this week, which are pretty mad, really, when you think about where I was a few years back. Well, this week I had a chat with this woman who works for the prison I used to be in, which is the HMP The Mount, and they've invited me to go and do a talk to the inmates there, because they think it will help them and inspire them, and they're really interested in hearing my story, basically, and what I'm doing now as a professional coach, where I was then, how I've got to where I am now, and what I do now, how I help people now, that sort of thing. And on top of that, I found out today that I've been nominated, madly, for an award. And I've been this award. I want to read it out because it's a bit weird. Hat Crow's Achievement Award 2021. Now, it goes, this year's ceremony will be held at the University of Hertfordshire's Western Auditorium at the 20th of September 2021. And basically what it is for people, to recognise people and their outstanding achievements and turning their lives around when they've been through whatever, and turning it around and making something positive, and they're helping other people to do the same. And that's exactly what I do for a living now. So I help people. I help people do what I did, create a life that I want. And that fits in with what I'm going to talk about today regarding prison and this baking bloody heat. So, yeah, I mean, everyone talks about lockdown, loss of freedoms, how hard everything is when we lose our freedoms. And we do take all our freedoms for granted. And I learnt that the hard way. Most people, thankfully, don't have to learn that. But it is not nice when you lose your freedom. And it's one thing losing your physical freedom, losing your mental freedom is another thing altogether, and I'm going to come to that. But when I was stuck in prison, and it wasn't always like that. I was working most of the time, and I was going to the gym and things like that. But there was a period in there for about 6 months where there was no staff, basically, and we were all locked up 24 hours a day, pretty much, allowed out for like 20 minutes a day to make a phone call. You had one shower a week. Now, at that time, I was in Swaleside. I wasn't in the Mount. I was in Swaleside, and it was absolutely bloody boiling. And you think this is hot today? Nah, sorry. In that cell, you had no windows. You had those little vents, no windows, no fans. You were stuck in those cells 23 plus hours a day for 6 months solid. You had no food. You had no shower. You had no exercise. You had very little time out of the cell. And that was my life for 6 months, probably 6-7 months, actually. So it's not a pleasant experience. And if you think this is hot, like I said, that it was baking for about right through that summer. And what I really want to talk about is not so much about losing your freedom in a physical sense, but losing your freedom mentally, because we all moan about our freedoms, not being able to go to the pub, not being able to go to the gym, not being able to, I don't know, do whatever it is we want to do. And yeah, that is hard. You know, it's hard when you're used to those sort of things every day. But how true is it that we actually are free at any given time, any time in our lives? Because most of us aren't. We're most of the time we live in our subconscious mind, dictated to by fear, dictated to by limiting beliefs, dictated to by assumptions and interpretations on what we think is going on around us. We live in the future, we live in the past. We're never living in the moment. We're never living in the present, because we're either worried about something that's going to happen, which doesn't ever happen, or we're thinking about things that have already happened. So when you think like that, we're not actually really ever free. You're very rarely actually free. So we're all moaning about our basic freedoms. Oh no, we're not allowed. The government are taking our freedoms away. No, you're taking your freedoms away. Because the one thing that got me through that, and I was no expert at the time, I hadn't done this trade as a coach at that stage and everything else, but I would have lost my mind quite easily in that situation. And there was times when I probably did go to that level. But you have to learn to be able to control your thinking. And when you learn how to control your thinking, you control your life. You control your feelings, you control your actions, you control what you do in life. That's the most important thing. So all of these people who just think, this is a load of nonsense, you're just dictating, you're judging, your beliefs are controlling your life. You're not living your life. You're not actually in the moment. And that's the fundamental thing to living a happy and fulfilled life. And that's what I've been doing. That's why I'm now getting all of these awards. That's why I'm doing all this sort of stuff now and all the accolades. And it's all very nice on Facebook and things like that. People, friends, well done. But you're not doing it as well. So why aren't you doing it? So this is what I do for, as a coach. I help people do this. I help, and it's not just me motivating people. It's me using a structured set process which I've used and I am using to create my success in my life, and I help people do the same as well. And that means removing things like fears, removing things like limited beliefs, removing all of the blocks and stuff that we create ourselves in our minds, which stop us actually creating what we really want in life and seeing life how we really want to see it. So we've always got some sort of stress going on. We're always worried about something. We're always creating some sort of brain mindset which stops us actually doing what we want in life. And it's not needed. You don't have to do it. Why do it? So that's what I really wanted to focus on, because if I hadn't have got myself into a mindset where I was grounded in the moment, focusing on what I was doing on a day-to-day basis instead of focusing on things that weren't happening, like worries basically, and creating situations in my mind. And then, yes, I did do that, and I wasn't very happy, and I was very unhappy. But now that I've done what I've done in terms of the coaching training and learned to move forward, I understand where I was going wrong there. And had I known what I know now, I would have done that all very differently, and I wouldn't have probably ended up in the same mental stupor that I did at that time. And it's no different out here, because people are always going through life with all sorts of stuff going on in your mind, which is developed over the years through your subconscious, and you've still got it going on unconsciously. So you might not realize that, but it's a fact. So every time you think something, it's influenced by whatever you've learned in the past. Learning how to distance or cut off those thoughts or beliefs from the past. For instance, fear. Fear is born out of past experience. So you might have been bullied at school once, and now later on in life, you won't put yourself forward for something for fear of making a fool of yourself. And where does that come from? It comes from that belief that was developed when you were in the school playground. It's no longer relevant. So by learning how you can remove those, which is what a coach does, like myself, because it's not like a lot of coaches out there who just don't know what they're doing. I'm actually trained to help you remove fear. So if you don't want fear, get rid of it. If you don't want limiting beliefs, get rid of them. If you don't want judgment, get rid of it. If you don't want assumptions, get rid of them. So all of these things which stop us being who you really want to be and start to create what you really want, like I'm doing now, is possible for anybody. So the next time everyone's like saying, well done, but you know, you can do it, but I can't sort of mentality. Well, I'm sorry, that's not true. And that's exactly what I'm going to do when I go into this prison, because all of those guys in there, they're probably sitting in these burning hot cells like I was, sweating their bollocks off, because I know what it's like to be in that situation. They're all locked up because of COVID. And this is why I'm going in there, because I've been there, seen it, done it. And I know how to get your mindset in the right place to get through that. And this is what I'm going to help people do. And it's not just in prison, it's here as well. So if you're interested in sorting out your mindset so that you've got a mindset that works in any given situation consistently in every area of your life, that means spiritually, that means environmentally, that means emotionally, mentally, socially, what have I missed? Something. Anyway, there's 6 different areas where where we function at any given time. And we don't function at an optimal level most of the time because of those blocks I just mentioned: fear, limiting beliefs, assumptions, interpretations, and it all works together. But we're not aware enough to realise this most of the time, because most of the time we're, like I said, 90% of the time we're in our subconscious mind, only 10% of the time we're actually in our conscious mind. So if you are in your conscious mind when you're working with someone like me, for instance, then I will help you, and we'll work together, I should say, to remove those sort of blocks so that you're thinking clearly and that you're building things and you're moving in the right direction all the time and that you feel energized all of the time and that every area of your life is functioning at a good, high, positive level all of the time. It's not a dream. It's not make-believe. It's real. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can do that, then give me a call. I find it frustrating. I'll be honest with you. I find it frustrating that so many people ignore this sort of stuff because they're living a life where they're not happy. I know how to help them be happy, but they just turn their nose up at it because it's not, oh, well, whatever. It's the same fears, limiting beliefs, all of that crap that's going on in your mind that's stopping you doing this stuff. It's the very blocks I've just mentioned. So, there you go. So, I was in that shit place. I'm now in an excellent place. I'm buzzing and I'm doing really well. Now, if you want to get from wherever you may be, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in a shit place, you might be doing all right. You might be having a great time in your life, but you might want to do better. So if that's the case, get in touch as well. So it's not just for people with problems. I don't actually like working with people with problems. I like working with people who want solutions. And that's what I help you find. So if you're looking to find solutions, if you're looking to create a life of total fulfillment and happiness and start really excelling beyond your wildest dreams, this is what I'm bloody doing at the moment. I mean, fancy getting an award. That's really weird. The mayor and all of that lot are going to be there. So yeah, that'll be weird. I don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, right, have a great night. I hope you enjoyed that. It's boiling hot, so I'm going to go and have an ice cream. I'll see you later. Bye bye.